Hello, everyone, and welcome again for this very short capsule on privacy developments in Canada. I'm joined by my very good colleague, David Seevaratnm from our knowledge management team, and we're going to be recapping the month of May 2023 in terms of privacy developments in Canada. So, David, without further ado, we'll jump right into it. There's three big developments I want to go over with you. The first one is a hot topic, as you can imagine, artificial intelligence, and in particular, generative AI. Know the Federal Privacy Commissioner launched an investigation into ChatGPT and OpenAI. There's been a new development on that. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, certainly. So the development is that the provincial private sector privacy regulators have joined the OPC in that investigation. So namely, those are the commissioners in BC, Alberta, and Quebec are all joining the effort to look into OpenAI, which is the company behind ChatGPT. So together, these four regulators say they're going to be able to leverage their combined resources and expertise to look into the issue of whether ChatGPT is obtaining the necessary consent, which was the subject of the complaint that led to that original OPC investigation announcement. But in announcing this joint investigation, they also say they're looking into obligations with respect to openness, transparency, access, accuracy, accountability, limiting collection. So really, it seems that there are plans to dig into a number of the fair information principles that underlie our privacy laws. So quite a thorough investigation is being planned by these regulators.
Right, right. So provincial privacy commissioners are getting part of this or joining the investigation and becoming part of this, and then also potential broadening of the scope a little bit beyond just the consent piece, but other aspects related to privacy law. Got it.
Exactly.
Second development, no surprise, C27 continues to make its way through Parliament. And I believe you wanted to share with us some of the OPC's comments in their submission to the Standing Committee.
Yeah, so there was a publication of the OPC's submission to the Standing Committee on Industry and Technology regarding Bill C27. So that submission included 15 key recommendations from the OPC on how privacy reform should be revised. So a couple of those recommendations included recognizing privacy as a fundamental right, strengthening the framework for de-identified and anonymized information was another one. And they had a recommendation around providing greater flexibility for the use of voluntary compliance agreements to help resolve matters of dispute instead of the more adversarial processes. So those were a few things that the OPC wanted to highlight for the committee. But it seems that the next we'll probably hear about Bill C27 is going to be after Parliament's summer recess. So we'll see what use the committee makes of the OPC submission then.
Right, right, got it. So a bit of a pause, a few months sort of downtime, and then back in the fall, most likely there's going to be some more action in terms of where C27 is headed, and also more consultation and input from various stakeholders. So that's something to keep an eye out for. The third item, last but not least, is out of Quebec. The Commission à l'accès à l'information is issuing some guidelines, from what I understand, on validity of consent, but also on some of the monetary penalties. Can you speak to that a little bit, David?
Yeah, so some legislative reform that is well underway is Quebec's Law 25, with parts of which came into force over the past year, but a bulk of it is really coming into force in September. So the commission is getting everyone ready for that. Part of that was in May, it launched a consultation on its draft guidelines for the validity of consent. So that consultation is going to end in late June. And they also published a reminder in May that the administrative monetary penalties that the legislation contemplates will be going into effect in September. So those penalties, as we've talked about before, are quite sizable. $10 million, or if greater, 2% of worldwide turnover for the preceding fiscal year. So the Commission in Quebec has reminded people that those are going into effect, and they've also published the framework, which is required by Law 25, which sets out the purpose of the penalties and the criteria that are going to govern deciding whether or not a penalty should be imposed.
Right. That's very helpful, David. I mean, I'll tell you, a lot of our clients are watching, obviously, what the Commission is doing, both in terms of compliance with Law 25, but how that may become a model in other parts of the country as well, especially when they're building out national frameworks for privacy. So this is going to be something to watch for, especially as we head into September, which is the big next deadline coming up in terms of the next tranche of developments under Law 25. So very timely for that. As always, David, you've been fantastic in terms of summarizing key developments in about 3 minutes or so. I think I probably made that last a bit longer than 3 minutes. I invite our viewers to reach out to us if they'd like to join David's excellent mailer with developments that have occurred in the area of privacy on a weekly basis. And if you'd like to get more timely information and longer pieces we write on our data protection blog, please visit Norton Rose Fulbright's webpage. And we look forward to seeing you next month. Thanks again, David. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.